Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you today? I hope that you are having a great day and your day is starting off well. Hey, hope you have your coffee. Buckle up for this morning. We are in for a ride, that's for sure. Welcome. If you're new to Thursday Morning Live, I'm glad that you're here. Follow us on social media, smash the like button. And if you are watching us on YouTube, definitely please subscribe. We are always bringing out new content every day, information to help you grow in the real estate space, in the real estate business, and help you on your journey personally and professionally as well. And this morning, I'm excited. I'm joined by a local business owner, one of my clients that I coach and owns a local business in the Chicago market. Um, uh, Before I introduce him and bring him in, I just would like to remind you about intentionality, right? Let's be intentional about what we're doing and how we're pursuing life and how we're pursuing our dreams and our goals. Uh, Tonight, I am hosting Matthew Ferry, longtime good friend of mine. I'm involved in a mastermind group that Matthew runs, and Matthew's going to talk tonight about the art of magnetism. And I am really super excited about this event this evening. And it's at 5 o'clock Central Time here. You can register for the event. If you don't have the invitation, email me or direct message me, and I will make sure that I get you the link to register so that you get the Zoom link so you can get a first place seat. But tonight we're going to talk about the art of magnetism, and Matthew brings some information and a thought process that you might not have heard before. Maybe something to add to your toolbox that's going to help you grow a little bit more. So my guest this morning, Fernando Labastida, he owns a small company here in Chicago, Labastida Automotive. It's on the south side of Chicago near Sox Park. And let's bring him in real quick. Fernando, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you?
Doing good.
Good to see you, man. Glad that you're here. How's things on the south side this morning?
You know what? A lot of construction going on. I'm in the intersections of 47 and Halsted for all the Southsiders. They're pretty aware of the location. There's a lot of construction going, and aside from that, my own building is under construction. In case you didn't know, we're doing the front outer wall, and we're doing a complete swap out of the roof. So that's an ongoing project.
Well, the roof is a big deal, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Roof definitely has not been touched for a couple of years. I would say decades, right? Come to find out, it had like about 5 layers of layer after layer stacked on top of it, right? So it was a complete time for a swap out.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the good news is though, and you could probably be grateful for this because we all need to be grateful for stuff, is that the sun is out today.
Definitely. Definitely. And I'm pretty sure all the workers over there are very grateful because we had a couple of rainy days in the past week. So work has been halted due to the rain and the weather.
Awesome. Well, listen, thanks for taking time out of your schedule. And I know you're busy. I always start my shows, whether it's Thursday Morning Live or my multifamily unplugged shows, and I ask that one question, right? What best describes you personally and professionally?
Mike, I've been thinking very hard, and the best word would be enthusiastic. I'm very known to have to aim for or try to accomplish certain goals, right? My attitude is very positive as well. I've had very rough times in my past, but I've always come up with a smile, and it's reflected on my business as well. I've gotten quite a bit of customer feedback stating exactly the same thing. Like, hey, I like coming and talking to you in particular because you're always carrying a smile. And that gives me that motivation, right, of providing that good service. So enthusiastic is the word for me.
Yeah, awesome. And you know what? That's probably one of the reasons your business has grown like it has.
Correct.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. But talk a little bit about your history and how you got in the automotive business and how
Sure.
you and I think you and your dad own the
That is
company,
correct. That is
right?
correct. Yeah.
So how'd you guys get in the business?
So Mike, I'm actually I was born in Mexico City. I was brought to the U.S. when I was 4 years old. So I consider the U.S. to be my home.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we left Mexico to pursue the American dream. Right. I was a child, and I had no saying in that decision. Right. But my father has a background in automotive. My grandfather actually used to own two automotive shops in Mexico, to the point where the family story goes that my dad, at the age of 17, was already running the second shop for my grandfather. So very, motivational, right? But hard on the family, I would assume back in the day. So that's how I got into the automotive field or world. Coming here, again, my dad worked for a automotive shop, right, for a couple of years. Then he decided to branch out and go his way. The funny story was that my dad branched out to our home garage, and that's where he was working for 12 plus years in the garage.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember clearly. I was a teenager, and for me it was normal. I was like, oh, I wake up, brush my teeth, go back to the garage, and start the day at work. Right, do brakes, suspension parts, whatever. Right, and when I would convey this story over to my friends, they're like, oh wait, your dad works from his garage. I was like, yeah, like, but my dad was he was very tidy, right? So everything was organized, everything was clean. I still have recollections and memories of customers coming by. They're like, you know what, I would be quite iffy about taking my car to a alley mechanic, so to speak, especially one that works he makes a living working from home. And when they would come, and my dad would open the garage, they'll be so surprised. They were like, wow, it does not look like a garage. Like, everything looked like a small mini two-bay shop. So that was my childhood. So when I went to college, I was scratching my head. I was like, what do I want to do? And one of the dilemmas for me, in case you were not aware, Mike, but I was a DACA recipient, right? DACA is a program that was established by the President Obama years, and it gave pretty much legal status to undocumented individuals such as myself to legally work in the U.S., right? So that program kind of helped me a lot. When I was in college, that program had recently just come out, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I can find a good paying job, right? But I was still in the dilemma of like, what do I do? Fast forward, I try to get FAFSA because I know some of my friends were like, oh yeah, go to the FAFSA office, and long and behold, I go to FAFSA, knock on their door. Hey, I want to apply for some money, right? So to go to college. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't apply. I was like, oh wow, why? And come to find out, it's because that FAFSA is a right for U.S. citizens, and I was not,
Oh,
right, at the time. So I was like, okay. So I would say during that stage of my life, that's when the light bulb flickered, Mike, and that made me be a very responsible individual. I had to pay for my studies, and I would hear from my friends like, "Oh, I got a check back for $2,000 from FAFSA." I was like, "Oh, well, good for you." But it was a motivational factor for me, right, to work part time and to go school full time. So that being said, when I was in that dilemma, I was like, I cannot afford to take anything else. So I was like, I'm in automotive, right? My dad
yeah.
manages a small auto shop, and I was like, let me just stick it out. I'm like, let me just go forward, I had intention to get a certificate, right? So it was like a small course in automotive. And then the instructors in college are like, oh, well, you're here already, get the advanced certificate. I was like, okay, I got the advanced certificate. I was there, they're like, hey, you're already halfway there, get your associates. I was like, okay, I'll get my associates.
Good for you.
Then
Good for you. Hey, where'd you
yeah,
go to school at?
I'm sorry.
Where'd you go to
That
school?
was a community college of Chicago, Truman, up in the north side.
Okay.
So
Here's what I want to know. When you were in college, did you study automotive repair
yeah.
or oh you did? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So the way it works is you had a couple courses hands on, right, in the auto industry, right? You had a engine course, you had a transmission course, you had a diagnosis of electrical courses, you had a brake course, and so on. But at the side, as I was trying to persuade and complete my associates, I had to take the general education courses, right? Which was math, science, and so on, reading, writing, whatever.
But
So
you had been working on cars though before that. You had
yes,
been
yes,
in
yes.
your
So
dad's business in
remember,
the garage off the alley, right? You
correct. Yes.
you were
So I
working on
was,
cars since you were 12 years old, right? So
yeah,
this was
pretty much. I have fond memories of my dad telling me, "Hey, come and help me and watch the parts." I didn't know what it was, me being a youngster, like grabbing the solvents and like playing with it, like water and cleaning parts. I had no clue, right? Come to
yeah.
find out there's PPE, but anyways, yeah. So I had that background, I had that experience already. It helped a lot when I started college again and took automotive courses because I was like, oh wait, I know that. I know how to do that, And it was a very that was my advantage, right, of completing college. So, anyways, Mike, yeah, I had that experience, and then my instructor's like, hey, just get your associates. I was like, okay, cool. The beautiful thing when I was in Truman College, Mike, they had a bridge program from SIU, Southern Illinois University of Carbondale. So, in case you didn't know, Carbondale is known for their automotive program,
I
right?
didn't know that. That's
It has a
interesting.
good
I always
recognition.
thought I always thought Carbondale was noted for the Halloween party
Now
that
there you
they had.
go, and the long weekends, right, and then
That's
drinking.
right.
Yeah, yeah, but listen, Mike, my story didn't end there. So they had the bridge program. The bridge program was I did not physically need to move out to Carbondale. Like they had the Carbondale courses bring back to Chicago. So that entailed going to school Saturday and Sunday from
Wow.
7:30 to 4 p.m. For 1 year straight. So when I was finishing or trying to complete my associates, my instructor or the what was it, the counselor at the time for Carbondale, SIU, he's like, hey, we're trying to recruit people, because it's a small course, whatever. I was like, yeah, how much is this going to cost? He broke it down. He's like, well, it's going to be way cheaper because you're not in Carbondale. I was like, okay, well, that kind of intrigued me. And he's like, you're going to get your bachelor's. He showered me with all these high expectations, like, oh, Carbondale is known for the automotive. If you have a Carbondale degree, you're gonna get the top paying job. I was like, okay, I heard him enough, and in the background, my parents were always telling me and encouraging me. He's like, pursue school, right? Never stop studying. He's like, continue, continue, continue. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, well, it's costing me a dime and a nickel, but they were my biggest motivational people at the time. So, anyways, Mike, I decided to take the course, and I had to again. I took the SIU courses on the weekend, right? So that kind of benefited me because from Monday through Friday, I was still working full time, right? And guess where my job was at? Still with my father.
Yeah.
And so it worked out perfect. It was a big sacrifice, Mike, because for 1 year straight, again, going to school Saturday and Sunday, a lot of people that I will talk to, they're like, there's no school during that time. I'm like, oh yeah, there is, right? I know. I attend to one. So it was a sacrifice, especially because during that time I hit my 21, saying, you know what that means, right? Your friends inviting you to the bar and going here and there, but I had to put my foot down. I was like, no, guys, I have responsibility. I couldn't afford to miss school, or I couldn't afford to flunk a class because that was coming money out of my pocket, right? So long and behold, Mike, I graduated with my bachelor's in 2015. And that was a very proud moment for me because I was like, yes, I'm done. No more school, right? That was my biggest day. I'm like, no more school. I wasn't the study person to say, right? Or the smart person in the class to say. So I ended up getting a job with a startup company called Orange EV.
Mm.
They did exactly what Tesla was doing, but with spotter trucks. In case you don't know what a spotter truck is, those small little square-looking trucks in
Yeah.
those warehouses that
Yep.
move containers from door A to door C. They would extract the diesel engine, the transmission, and they would put their own systems on there, and they had battery packs. So I was their field technician. Being a startup, it wasn't perfect, right? A lot of going back and forth, right? But that was my first and official job after college, right? And only job, as a matter of fact. So I did that for about a year. I was like, you know what? It was too repetitive, not for me. Too much driving, and I ended up giving my resignation. I guess I was a valuable person that on the company. They told me, "Hey, can you just stay and be a general contractor?" I was like, "Okay, cool. I can work around my hours if I wish, right? If I want to work, I can work." So, anyways, I did that for 6 more months. So I was there for a year and a half. But it's so funny, Mike, how things fall into place because during that time of me giving my resignation, my father approached me and he's like, "Hey, they're selling a commercial building." I was like, "Oh wow, okay, we're by." It wasn't too far from our home at the time. And he's like, yeah, it's the guy's motivated to sell. He's willing to do owner to owner finance. And at the time, I was like, I didn't know what the heck that meant, right? All I know was like, come in with 33% down and the building is yours. That was the general idea or the breakdown that I got. So again, things fell into place, Mike, and my dad approached me. I was like, let's go for it, right? I'm like, I want to leave this company anyways. And my dad was, at the time already 12 plus years in working in the back of his house. So we took a chance, Mike. One of the biggest blessings, if you would, if I could point out, right, was taking that opportunity. So we went over, took it over. It was a learning process for me. The whole idea was me manage the business, and my dad, being the master tech that he is, he could fix the cars. So it was a learning experience where, at the time I didn't know how to charge for any job, right? It was, I learned I learned through school, but it's not the same, right? When you're in the
Right,
field.
right,
And indeed, it was a trial and error. So little by little, I didn't know what it meant to invest into your building, right? Heck, it didn't really hit hard when we're like, oh, we're the proud owners of this building. Like, I was like, hey, we're just working out of this building, right?
yeah,
So repairs went in and so on, and little fixer upper here and there, buying more tools, and then the biggest thing, hire more personnel, right? Because my dad had another gentleman at the time, no longer there now, but he was a total of like two or three more, right? And his
sure.
team, me, we were four. Mike, after 6 years in business, we have grown to over 10 employees now, including
Wow.
myself. We have four bays at the shop. We try to keep everything tight, clean, and because that's the impression you want to give to the customer
Yeah.
when they first get in.
So do you guys specialize in anything or
So, Mike, yes, the biggest specialty that we have is electronic diagnosis. What that is more or so is like if a customer has a shortage where the check engine light doesn't go out, and so
yeah,
many people have picked at it and thrown. We call it the parts cannon, right? They just throw parts at it and doesn't get it fixed. Then they bring it to us, Mike, right? Another specialty is emission testing. Here in the state of Illinois, at least in Chicago region, there is the pollution testing, right, which is the state testing. Without that test, you cannot renew your plate sticker, right, your registration.
right. Hey,
I know the suburbs don't have that.
can I
Sorry?
come in and have my emissions test?
Of
I mean,
course,
do you
anybody's welcome.
certify? Do you sign off on it then for the state?
So,
Is
Mike,
it-
it's not very picky as let's put in comparison California. I know California has bigger regulations. People have to be
Yeah,
certified and so on. Illinois is very lenient, Mike, right? Anybody can take the emission testing, even you as the owner, right? The trouble comes when you failed and they gave you a paper that the mechanic has to fill out, right? He's like, it's simple, like 5-line paper
yeah.
saying who was the mechanic or who was the shop, the signature of the mechanic, what did you do, what recommendations you got, and I think check the box, and that was it, right?
What I'm asking though is, do you do the test for the state? When you get the card in the mail and you have to go to one of the certified testing centers,
Yes, we take them. We take them.
you do the test and send the paperwork in. for the
Oh, I'm
state?
sorry, Mike. So listen, no. So the state has their locations,
Yeah,
right?
right.
We provide the service to have it ready, and we even go one step above, where we take the vehicle for the customer, right?
Oh, really?
And yeah, and a lot of people, I think that's one of the things that differentiate us with other shops. We are a one-stop shop, right? We do the work and we tell the customer, listen, if you do the work, we take the vehicle to the emission testers, for you, and
Yeah,
that way I give you back the key. Here's your key, and go buy your plate sticker, because they no longer
awesome.
have to take the time to take it to the emission place.
Nice,
Correct.
nice. Good for
Mm-hmm.
you. Good for you.
Thank
So,
you.
um, uh, tell me this, and I have to imagine that once in a while, being close to Sox Park, you get to sneak out for a game.
You know what? I've done it like once or twice. I haven't done it often, but I've been having the urge to, you know what, one day close shop and take all the employees out to the park game, and just watch one game. And
Yeah,
that goes a long way for the employees, especially since they're the building blocks of the business.
for sure. Yeah, take me out to the ball game, right?
There you go. Offers there.
Awesome. Hey, so how do people get a hold of you if they have a need for car service or want to connect with you?
Sure, Mike. So the best way to reach me is through my cell phone number, which
Okay.
is, I believe, in the screen right now, 773-526-9255. If
Okay.
you have, if they have any sort of questions, or any concerns, feel free to reach out. I also, they can reach me if they look up my automotive shop, which is La Bastida. And Mike, confirmed to me, it's not really a hard name to forget, right? It might
Right.
be hard at the beginning, but one of the things I decided to name the business after my last name was because of that intrigueness, right? Like, a lot of people ask me, "What is La Bastida?" I'm like, "Oh, that's my last name." It's like, wow,
Oh,
it's unique. So
yeah.
that resonates with them, right?
And
And
it gives
sure
you that
enough,
signature business, right?
correct. Yeah, yeah. So they can also find me at the business, right? Because might being a small business owner, you're at your business about 60 to 70 hours a week, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When we first started, I was there about 80 hours a week, and let me tell you, my dad was there even longer, right? That guy even, my funny story, I just remember there was one time where me and my dad were so paranoid that somebody will come in and steal our equipment. We ended up sleeping at the business, at the shop. We had a
Oh,
little small bed. Me and my dad would take turns. We did this for a small period of time. He would do one week, I would do another, but it was hectic. It was
and did anybody ever try to break in
You
or?
know what? Thank the Lord, nobody ever did. Right? We have such a good connection with all our customers. Mike, to not to say much about my personal success, but we treat our customers very good. When there's any sort of when somebody's not happy, and you're gonna get those bad apples here and
Yeah,
there, right?
right,
And
right.
you can't please nobody. I've learned that in the field. I try to compensate them, like, what do you need, right? If they come out screaming and whatnot, I've learned this skill too. I developed this skill too, Mike, right? If a customer comes walking in and screaming and being annoyed, or for whatever the reason, I'm like, hey, I'm like, we're humans. I'm like, just bring your tone down. What can I help you with? Oh, I'm not, the car is not right. I'm like, okay, just tell me, what do you need me to do? Oh, I just need you to fix it. Okay, like, just calm. Tell
Right,
me what
right.
you need. Leave me your car, and we'll take it from there. Right. So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Good for
Mike.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, before we end, we're just about done, but before we end, I have a couple bonus questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. So being that you're a Chicago resident, what is your favorite restaurant in the city?
Oh man. Can it be anything? Anything
Yeah,
general?
anything you want.
Mike, I am a proud Mexican. I love my tacos. And not too far from the shop, there's this place called La Internacional, which in English translates to the International. They've even come up in the local news where they have such an amazing tacos. But I mean, they're big and beefy. Oh, they're just so good. That's my favorite food, tacos.
Nice. I'm gonna have to go check that out. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely.
So, and how about tourist attraction? Do you have if somebody's coming to the city for the summer or coming in for a trip, what would you suggest for a tourist attraction?
You know what? I would suggest to take a trip down Lakeshore Drive, right?
Mm,
Because I'm pretty sure you've been down there too, Mike. When you, depending on the direction you see, one side is the lake and the other side is the magnificent city that is
yeah,
Chicago.
yeah, awesome.
Hmm.
Well, listen, thanks for being here this morning. I appreciate you, everything that you brought to the show this morning about yourself, your business. I would encourage people to, if they have a need or an issue, or just want to have your car tested before you have to take it in for your emissions test, to reach out to Fernando and La Bastida Automotive. His phone number's there at the bottom. Fernando, thanks for being here. And you know what? I'll look forward to seeing you this weekend at the real estate event.
We'll be there, Mike. We'll be there definitely.